of her greatest qualities, and I just wrote a few words down. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but I think one of her greatest qualities is her optimism. Anybody that knows my mother knows that she's an optimistic person. She has the ability to weather adversity, and she always has. Anytime she's come up with adversity, she's gotten through it and come out on the other side a better person. She has great one-liners, all right? And I'm not going to go through all the one-liners, but I'm going to direct you to my cousin Dave, who's got a catalog of, Dave Vocal, who's got a whole catalog of one-liners. And there's only one other person in our family that could compete with her with one-liners, and that's my Uncle John, God rest his soul, John Maggio. And I'm going to give you one that I was reminded of by my cousin John last night. Uncle John talked about the 3 phases of life, and he said, first, you believe in Santa Claus. Second, you don't believe in Santa Claus. And third, you are Santa Claus. I thought that was, it says it all. Just a couple things. T and I were going to speak, but they weren't around for the olden days. And I just want to mention a few things that jumped to mind. My mother and I, when my sisters were born, my father, he sold insurance, and he worked nights, days, worked weekends. I spent a lot of time with my mother. And one of the things I remember is we used to spend a lot of time folding laundry. And that's obviously because back then they didn't have disposable diapers, and you laundered the diapers. And I can remember many a night, and it was just a wonderful time of my life, where we'd sit there and we'd fold diapers and laundry, and we'd watch Red Skelton on TV, And when we lived on St. Paul Street, we used to, my mother and I used to, and I was very young, I was 2 and under, we used to listen to Arthur Godfrey on the radio. And I remember once, I think it was Ruth DeRosa came over with my mother was there, and they're going to take me to the doctor. I didn't like to go to the doctor, and I said to my mom, we can't go to the doctor because I have to watch Arfie Garfy, or listen to Arfie. So, I mean, those were good times. I remember we used to, my mother used to always help me with my spelling words. Memorize them. We used to have, in Catholic school, you memorize spelling words, and I always did extremely well. I always got A's in spelling, which is the only time I probably ever got an A, including law school. And she was wonderful, but terrible in math. I can remember one day she was making a recipe. She baked. She could bake anything. And inadvertently, she put in 2 cups of an ingredient instead of 1 cup of an ingredient. So she had to double the recipe. Okay, she had to, increase the recipe. So she said, gee, I did this. So I said to her, I was very young, I said, we're learning about that in school. And it's like algebra. So I wrote out this equation. And she goes, no. Call your father at the office and tell him that I put in 2 cups instead of 1 cup. Now I have to put in 3 eggs. How many eggs am I supposed to put in now? And so I said, no, I can do this. So I wrote out this algebraic equation, and I said, if you put in, you're going to have to put in 2 times every other ingredient. And she goes, that can't be right. And I said, yeah, that can be right, because, and so we never did call my father, and we did work it out, and, baking was her thing, spelling was her thing, math just wasn't her thing. We're going to get started eating in just a minute. I want to give a couple special thanks. 1, to the staff at Brook Lee. They did a wonderful job. 2, to my 2 sisters, who make me look like a hero because I've done literally nothing except stand up here with a microphone. 3, the caregivers, because that's why my mother's here. If it wasn't for my mother's caregivers, she wouldn't be here. So I think we should have a special round of applause for them. Everyone knows T and Evan, so
in my wildest dreams, I never thought I could follow Frank Maggio in a speech. So this is quite a earmark day for me. Thanks, Frank. So, as Frank mentioned, I'm Mary's grandson, her oldest grandson. Came here from Atlanta, and can't tell you how grateful I am to be here with everybody. It's really a true pleasure, and get to speak for my grandmother is quite an honor itself. When I thought about this, and I thought about really coming together in this, I asked my mom, I said, hey, how many people are coming? She said, about 115, 120. My wife is sitting next to me, a family of this big, and she goes, are you kidding me? There's more people than at our wedding. And I was like, that's exactly right. But it is a testament to my grandmother. And what it means is really what she values. And to see that many people show up here today from a lot of different places, the value she puts on in regards to friendship, really stepping back and thinking about that, and family and friends, whether it's her neighbors, an old high school friend, families across the board. My grandmother epitomizes, I think, what family means and the value of family. If you look around the room here, there are people from a ton of different places, a ton of different walks of life, and it just shows you how much, Nani, that they mean to you and you mean to them. And really, if you think about those people in those places, a lot of big things come to my mind. Thinking of my grandmother, the one thing that always comes to mind is Christmas Eve. My goodness, I think everybody in this room probably has been at Christmas Eve with my grandmother's at one point, right? 40, 50, 60 years, whatever it is, there with hundreds of people, always there, celebrating great times, whether it's, Dave Kamarchek playing Santa Claus to that extent, doing some inappropriate comments, so, yeah, there he is. So, but other things, you walk in my grandmother's house, you walk by the fridge, you walk by the big door there is pictures just littered with different people sending Christmas cards, writing notes. She has pictures of them doing activities, and every time you go there, she's going to point out different people to you. I always pretend to know who they are half the time, but that's all right. But it goes to show you some of the things and the value that she stresses and that she's instilled in a lot of us. I can only hope one day that I can look back at family and friends and do the things that she's done that well. Looking at other things that go around, and really things that catch my eye and my memories are, things like Greek Peak. You think about the organization, the things it takes for us to take that many people, go to a hotel, rent out the entire floor, hospitality suites. Those 2 floors, there you go, 2 floors. It really is, just speaks volumes about that, and I think she stands at the forefront and at the center of that. She really means that much to that many people. So with that, I cannot do anything else to say but wish her a happy and wonderful 90th birthday, hoping for many, many more to that extent, and you are loved by many, many people in this room. Thank you.
So just to add to that a little bit, I think T did a really good job of kind of summarizing a lot of this stuff, but TR, Katie, myself, we spent our childhood growing up here at Brooklyn, and we would always come here and go to the pool with Lisa or my parents or whoever, and we'd come here, and for whatever reason, everybody knows Nani here. People walk up to her, we gotta go meet, Mrs. So-and-so and this person, that, and we're just trying to go off the diving board, but we always gotta meet these people, and we're always confused, like, we don't know who these people are. So, I think one day, I think we'll have a plaque here somewhere. Nani is the official mayor of Brooklyn Country Club. And I don't know if that's an official title, but, I want to I have a unique perspective on my grandmother, and I think it's worth noting, and, I never really got to meet my grandfather. I think that's a big part of our family. He's the patriarch, and he died literally on my first birthday. So I've never really, always kind of trying to discover who this myth of a person is. And I think in the process, I've been able to learn a lot about Nani, and I only know Nani, and that's a very good thing. Because I think she has so many qualities. I think among the ones that T mentioned that are great is just her infinite optimism. She really has nothing really bad to say about anybody or about any situation she's in. Always good things to say about other people. She embellishes a little bit about her grandsons. Yeah, I don't think, I think she goes a little above and beyond on that, but we're always grateful for it. But, I think having that perspective of knowing her and only her has really, I've got a really special bond with my grandmother, and we talk literally after every single Syracuse game. I call her up and we'll talk through stats. She thinks Tyler Lyon's not good on his 15-footer. He's got to learn how to pull out the jump shot a little bit better. And it was funny. I was in Boston and we were talking through. We had just Syracuse won a big game and looked like they were going to get in the tournament. And I had her on the speakerphone with one of my buddies in Syracuse, who's also from Rochester. And we were talking and. He's like, oh my God, like your grandmother's rattling, she's like sharp as a tack. She's rattling off Syracuse stats. Who is this person? And he's like, it's Nani. I don't know. We just kind of assumed it, and it's always been that way. But Nani always learning, reads the paper every morning, and I think that's another one of those qualities that I think is instilled in my parents and is in a sense instilled in us, and just always curious and wondering about what's going on. She sends articles about what she sees going on in business that would be helpful, and introduces us to things, and that's a huge quality that I think is great for her. But I think her best quality is that she doesn't compromise on things, and that's really important. And when it comes to family and friends or anything else, it would have been really easy for her to say, I'm not going to have Christmas Eve at my house. I'm not going to have 90 people in a house that is not designed to hold 90 people. After my grandfather passed away, but that wasn't what she was about. She said this needs to continue. We need to do that, and I think. That's a testament to her. It would have been really easy for her to move out of her house, and God knows, we discussed it at length, and she said, no, this is my home. I'm not leaving here, and we're going to make it work, and God willing, we did. I called her a couple weeks ago, and I said, hey, now what are you up to today? Or a long day at work, and she said, well, I went to the casino this afternoon. It was great. I had a good time. Then a couple friends came over, ordered some pizzas, we played some cards, and had a few glasses of wine, and now I'm just sitting here relaxing and reading at night. I'm like, Nani, you have a better social life at age 89 than I do at 27. But I think, God willing, I hope we all have her social life and her group of friends. I mean, there's 115 people here today. I think literally, I don't think you had that many people at your wedding. I think, so it's just a testament to how much people care about her and how much she cares about everybody else. And we really could not ask for a better grandmother. Could not ask. My mother and my Aunt Penny and my Uncle Frank would say couldn't ask for a better mother, and I'm sure Luke one day will say couldn't ask for a better great grandmother. So if anybody has a glass in front of them, please raise it. To Mary Maggio on her 90th birthday and to 90 more years. Salute.
Again, I want to reiterate how happy we are to have you all here enjoying this special day with us. I just wanted to mention one thing. As a parent of my generation, we were so focused on telling our children how proud we were of them and encouraging them and how much we admire them. And I think back, as an adult child, I don't think I ever stepped back and say, Mom, how much I appreciate you, how much I admire, and how proud I am of you. My mother is an amazing woman. My dad passed away when my mother was 61 years old. And my mother and father had the traditional roles at that time. My father made the money, my mother spent the money. She didn't know how much the mortgage payment was, she didn't know how much the insurance was, she didn't know how much my father made, didn't know what the gas and electric bill was. Then she was thrown into this position where she had to not only run the house, but run the financial end of the house. And she has done an amazing job. I am so proud of her. She has this very elaborate system of 12 file folders on her desk, and the bills come in and she's very organized. She has never bounced a check or missed a payment. Well, I can't say she never missed a payment. She was in the hospital and her RTD bill didn't get paid because she was in the hospital. Well, they sent her a letter. She called them the next day and said, went off on them, and they ended up sending a letter of apology to her. So I just want to say, Mom, I'm proud of you, I'm impressed with you, and I always admire your strength. And my mother her life has been good, not always easy, and she's faced many adversities, thank you, in her life, and done it with great dignity and class, and a role model to all of us. So Mom, thank you.